if your money, especially if it's digital, electronic, or paper, and it's sitting in a bank, in a financial institution, sitting on a computer screen, again, digital or electronic money or cash in some bank vault, it is susceptible to being stolen, frozen, or seized, period. It's Friday, April 1st, 2022. Before I start the video today, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure that you are subscribed to this channel. Share this video and all my videos all over social media. Share it with your friends. Without further ado, let's get right into what is happening right now. Nothing really too exciting today. Markets across the board up. Dow Jones up about 140 points. But when you really look behind the scenes, when you look at the foundation of what's happening to this economy, the markets, the global economy, there is a lot happening. And a lot of it continues to be very, very concerning, while we're being told every day that everything is going great, that the markets are looking great, and that you should be in these markets. You should be buying a house right now. You should go out and run up your credit cards. You should be acquiring things with money you may not have. And even if you do have it, do you really need a lot of these things? Is this the time to really be going out spending, or the time to really be preparing? Dow climbs more than 100 points as Wall Street begins second quarter on a positive note. This on the title of CNBC today. I was watching this market at about 12:30, 12:35, somewhere around there, and the Dow Jones was actually in the red, down. And all of a sudden, of course, it comes right back. Now, is that the plunge protection team making sure that we don't have another day like we did yesterday? Is that the plunge protection team making sure that these markets get off to a good start on the first day of the second quarter of 2022? Let me know your thoughts down below. Am I just talking crazy here? Or is there some truth that the plunge protection team is still in these markets? The Fed is still buying treasuries, still buying bonds, still buying stocks. And did this have some kind of impact today? Because yesterday, what was it, a 550 point loss? Could we bear to see another day like yesterday, starting out the second quarter today? Economy added 431,000 jobs in March, despite worries over slowing growth. I was watching one of the shows today, and they said, well, we slightly missed the 490,000 estimate. We hit 431, but whether we missed it or not, in my opinion, the Federal Reserve now has the necessary ammo it needs to raise 50 basis points. I think they said unemployment's down to 3.6%. I don't know if you believe that. I certainly don't. And but the fact of the matter is, how can they not raise rates in May and again in June? Economy is roaring back. 431,000 jobs added in March. Unemployment at 3.6%. It's all good. It is time to raise rates, ladies and gentlemen. But let's talk about where the jobs are. Leisure and hospitality added 112,000 jobs. Professional business services added 102,000 jobs. And you can go through the rest of the list. You go to CNBC and check it out. But leisure and hospitality, you know, that's waiters, waitresses, people working at resorts, cleaning rooms, doing laundry. When we look at examples of business services, I just pulled it up today. What are some examples of business services where we added 102,000 jobs? Well, personal fitness instructors, pet sitters, mobile car wash and detailers, mobile notary public, elder companions, private school application consultants, housekeepers, etc. So if we take just leisure and hospitality and business services, that gives us 214,000 jobs right there. I mean, that's half the jobs that we added in March in the service sector right there. So A majority, and we can go down the list, but a majority of these jobs, probably 70%, even more, are going to be minimum wage jobs. Yield curve inverts dramatically as Goldman sees recession risk soaring. This on The Hedge today. Everyone gloating over the surge in job gains, which merely represents people being allowed to go back to their pre-health crisis jobs. We're not creating, we're just adding old jobs, ladies and gentlemen. We are not really creating a lot of jobs. These are just old jobs that people are returning to because they are now allowed to go back to work, or many are forced to go back to work now as the money is running out. Bank of America, Michael Hartnett expects a recession to strike by the second half of 2022. I think he's going to be spot on here. I think by the end of the summer, we're going to start really seeing big trouble. And I think that it will be the second half of this year that we begin to no longer ignore what is happening. And it is going to be much harder to deny the condition of this economy. Personally, right now, I think we're in a depression. That's my opinion of things. I think we're in a depression. When you look at the real job numbers, when you look at the massive debt, when you look at the deficits that we're running right now, when you look at the average income versus the inflation out there, what's happening to retail, what's happening to commercial real estate, energy prices, I personally think we're in a depression, but we're not admitting that. Bond market, I think we must keep an eye on the bond market. And as we saw another inversion of the 10-year and 2-year today, the bond market is sending a dire warning to all of us that something is wrong and that something is going to happen. Soaring markets help the richest 1% gain $6.5 trillion in wealth last year, according to the Fed. This on CNBC today. This number is probably actually much higher than what they're reporting. But whatever the number is, the 1% have become much, much wealthier, while the average American was closing their restaurants, closing their stores. The average American right now is being forced to live off of credit cards, buy now, pay later plans, living off of payday loans, living off equity lines that they had to pull out of their homes. Yet the top 1% are now worth $23 trillion. We're witnessing record wealth inequality take place, ladies and gentlemen, and it's been driving and continues to drive this stock market to the moon. Total wealth of the top 1% reached a record $45.9 trillion at the end of the fourth quarter of 2021. While you were hoping for a triple P loan, while you were closing your restaurants, while you were closing your small businesses, while you were being told not to come to work, while you were dependent on some kind of government subsidy to get by. It's just really, really horrific what we are watching take place. And the average American, especially the middle class, is just being absolutely gutted. Another article today, American households face $5,200 inflation tax this year. San Francisco Fed blames historic inflation rate on government spending. So think about that. On average, the average household, on average, going to have to spend $5,200 more this year than last year. We are no doubt at the point of no return, ladies and gentlemen, and you unfortunately are going to be on your own. Do not expect the system, the government, a bank, a financial institution, even your church to come help you or save you. This is a time right now you better be your own central bank, where you better be as self-sufficient as you possibly can to be getting out of the system the best that you can. Get ready to weather a massive storm, because that storm is here, ladies and gentlemen, without a doubt. And as I've said many times, we are so unprepared as a nation to face what is knocking at the door right now. People are going to wake up and they are not going to know what to do. They are going to expect help to be on the way. The cavalry, the Federal Reserve, the banking system, a politician, they're not coming to save you. you are going to be on your own. A dozen S&P 500 stocks just had their worst quarter ever as tech stocks sloughed off nearly $2 trillion in value. Yet Dow Jones up today, everything's fine. Inverted yield curve, nothing to worry about. Inflation at all-time highs. Look, somebody's going to say, no, it's a 42-year high. If you go back and use the same formula that we did back in the 80s to get the CPI, we would be at all-time high, record-breaking high inflation right now. But see, they always change how they calculate things like unemployment or how they calculate inflation. But if we went back to how we did it in the early 80s, we would be at record all-time high inflation. If you go to shadowstats.com, I haven't been there in the last couple of weeks, but I would imagine that the real inflation number is probably 18 to 20%. So expect it to go higher, ladies and gentlemen. Expect it to go much higher. The hedge today, is Russia the real target of Western sanctions? Now, this article asks a question. Soaring oil prices, soaring food prices, soaring energy prices. Is it possible that the real target is us, the United States of America? This economy is being literally disabled. And we are now watching a real threat to the US dollar as we are seeing other countries now doing whatever they can to get around the dollar, to do business with Russia, to do business with China. Article today from RT. What happens if Russia turns off the gas taps to Europe? It's a very good question. A Kremlin spokesperson said on Tuesday, no payment, no gas. That payment must be in rubles. Now, it's probably going to take a couple weeks before Russia gets this system in order to take rubles as payment. But probably within the next 2 weeks, this is going to be in play. Europe is heavily dependent on Russian gas for heating and power generation. 40% of Europe's gas comes from Russia. And if Europe says, hey, we're not going to buy any gas from Russia, we're going to just have to pay more and buy it from other countries, which is going to cause a massive financial crisis in Europe if they do that. And if they do that, what does that mean for Russia? It means Russia's just going to sell the gas to Asia. There's plenty of buyers. They're going to sell to Asia, to India, to whoever. The system is changing, ladies and gentlemen. India ready to bypass dollar in trade with Russia. Another article. Bank of Russia explains why it kept its reserves abroad. And I want to close with this article because this is a lesson to be learned. This is something that we can all take some knowledge from. Earlier in March, nearly half of Russia's foreign reserves were $300 billion were seized as part of sanctions imposed by the U.S. And look, I'm not here to get political. I'm not here to take sides, but we're going to use this as an example of why you shouldn't have all your money in a bank, why you shouldn't have all your eggs in one basket. Russia has alternative assets, gold and yuan, which it has accumulated over the past few years and now makes up half of its foreign reserves. All of its gold is kept at home. So the moral of the story is, if your money, especially if it's digital, electronic, or paper, and it's sitting in a bank, in a financial institution, sitting on a computer screen, again, digital or electronic money or cash in some bank vault, it is susceptible to being stolen, frozen, or seized, period. And so Russia has all this gold sitting in its vaults. It can't be touched. And if it cannot convert this gold into currency, all it will do is throw it on an airplane and fly it to, say, China. And China will say, okay, how much goods and services do you need for this gold? And we will ship goods and services back to you. So they have physical control of their money. And again, this isn't to take a side of what's happening over there to be political. But what if your money is frozen? What if your money for some reason is seized? What if there's a cyber attack and the system goes down? This is why I believe it is not safe to have most of your money in a bank, because if for some reason the power goes down, cyber attack, or for some unknown reason your money is seized, you're in trouble. And Russia understood this, and so they're sitting on all this gold that they can throw on an airplane and fly to anywhere in the world and trade it for goods and services. And now they're saying, you want our oil, you pay us in rubles. And we're hearing that the ruble is going to be backed by gold, possibly the yuan going to be backed in gold. You got Saudi Arabia, India, China, Russia, all these BRIC nations, all doing business together. And they are doing everything they can now to get out of using US dollars and using either their own currencies or gold or oil. So this is going to be a real problem for the US dollar and the US people. Because all we have now, since we don't manufacture and make much today, we pretty much don't manufacture or make anything, we consume. 70% of the US GDP is consumption. It's based on consumption. Think about that. People buying stuff. And we've had it so good for so long, and we've been so spoiled, and we've really, I think, abused the world reserve currency, the US dollar. I think we've really abused and enslaved a lot of the world with it. And I think that the world, as we once put the world on the US dollar standard, the world is going to take America off the dollar standard and put the world and America back on some sort of gold standard. And this is why I think it's imperative to own gold right now, and why I think that the average standard of living here in America is going to change. When that occurs, I don't know, but I don't think it's that far off. And how many people are prepared for it? Does America have gold? How much do we have in our vaults? Fort Knox hasn't been audited in what, 60, 70 years? I don't know, but I do know, and you know, that India has a lot of gold, China has a lot of gold, Russia has a lot of gold, and over the last few years, they have been absolutely stockpiling gold. What do they know? Why have central banks around the globe been stockpiling gold? What do they know? As we head into this weekend, I'll leave you with this. It's a great weekend to go out, get yourself a trauma kit, go stock up on more food, more water, emergency food. How about training? As I've said last week, this month now in April, I'm going to have another channel on another platform, and we're going to be going over training and preparation and the usage of a trauma kit, what you should have in a trauma kit, how to apply a tourniquet, and just things to really think about, and things to really shore up your security implementations at home or while you're traveling, and having a real plan and having real training and things you should be working on, training on right now as we head deeper into this depression. And I don't know about you, but if you've seen the surge in crime and the type of crime that we're seeing right now, imagine what this is going to look like the worse this economy gets. And as long as people are eating right now, and the food banks have food, and people are getting EBT and WIC and SNAP, and they can go to Walmart and buy groceries, everything is okay. But we are seeing a lot more crime. What happens when this food crisis gets out of control? What happens when, it doesn't matter if you have an EBT or WIC or SNAP, what happens when there's just no food at the store or it's very limited? Then you're going to see things really get out of control. And I've never seen crime in my life like the type of crime we're seeing right now. It's brutal, it's violent, dragging people out of their cars for their watches, just the brutality, smashing windows in Beverly Hills in broad daylight in the afternoon, stealing $5 million in watches. What does this look like when things really get bad? What does it look like when people really starve? Because look, 97, 98, 99% of this country is completely unprepared. They don't have enough food. If you think, honestly, look, if you just went to the grocery store and spent a couple $100s, that's good. You're not really prepared for the long haul though. You don't have emergency food. You don't have the jet boils. You don't have real water filtration. You know, you don't really have the real necessities to go the long haul. Yeah, you're better off than most people if you have a couple $100 of food in your pantry, but do you have the right food? Do you have food that you know is going to have a shelf life? And again, do you have a way to prepare it? Do you have a way to heat it up? Do you have a way to filtrate water? Is your security you know, situated so that nobody can come in and steal the food that you do have? So these are things we really have to be asking ourselves. And, you know, I know people out there go, oh, this is crazy. Anybody that says this is crazy now, no, I think that you're crazy. To see what's happening in this economy right now, to see the type of violence and the surge in violence, inverted yield curves now, $31 trillion in U.S. debt. You're looking at $180 trillion of unfunded liabilities, Medicare, Medicaid. Look at the pension crisis that's taking place right now. 2034, what is it, a 20% haircut in Social Security? That's if things don't go off the rails, which they're already doing. 2034, 20% haircut in Social Security. Is your pension going to be there for you? Is Social Security going to be there for you 10 years, 20 years from now? What kind of haircut will you really be taking in 2034? They're already warning you that they're broke. The money has been robbed, stolen. Your money's been printed to the moon. It's worthless. It's buying less and less. And so these people who think that I'm crazy, you're crazy because we're talking about real things. This is just real life, ladies and gentlemen. This is real facts. This is really happening. Now, if you would have said this 20 years ago, yeah, I might have thought you're crazy, but this has already begun. The wheels are in motion. We've never seen anything like this. You just looked at the global economy shut down for over a year. Hundreds of thousands of U.S. small businesses gone, shuttered forever. Bank closures everywhere. ATMs shut down. You've all written me. Banks and ATMs shut down on a daily basis. I've experienced it. You've experienced it. Something is very wrong here. Yet the stock market continues to go up. We paid people for a year to sit at home and do nothing. And we were paying people more money than they were making at their jobs. And now we have monster inflation on our hands. And people think that this isn't crazy, that we're crazy for admitting what's really happening. Anybody that believes that we're just being paranoid and negative and fearful, these people are the ones I'm talking about. They are the most unprepared people. These will be the people knocking at your door. These will be the people begging for food. These will be the people begging for work. They'll work for $5 an hour, $3 an hour, just like the Great Depression, because they have absolutely nothing, and they'll work all day just for a meal. These same people who judge us and tell us that we're crazy and out of our mind, see, they can't look at the data because it scares them. They can't look at the facts. They can't look at the numbers because they're scared to death, because they're completely unprepared. You're prepared, I'm prepared. That's why we can read the data, as manipulated as it is. We can read it and we can sum it up and we can connect the dots, and we know that it's much worse than we're being told. I've never seen so many shuttered businesses. I've never seen so many closed banks. I've never seen so many homeless people in my entire life. And yet people are still denying the truth. And that's fine. You can deny the truth all you want. I'm going to admit to the truth, and my eyes are wide open and I can see exactly what's happening like so many of you can. And this is why we continue to prepare. So I digress. Continue to prepare this week. But ladies and gentlemen, you know, there's people out there just saying, you know, as long as you have a couple cans of beans and a bag of rice and a couple $100 in food, you're going to be fine. I would do everything I could right now to have 6 months of emergency food, and pray to God you never have to use it. Get yourself canned food, get yourself water, get a filtration system, get a trauma kit, get a tourniquet, get your security house in order, okay? Because if you can't protect it, somebody's just going to take it. And get yourself some emergency food, something that you can heat up water like in a jet boil. Get yourself some jet boils. If you don't know what they are, Google it. You can heat up some water and pour into that emergency food and have a quick meal. I think it's good to have canned food, bottled water, emergency food, anything. Just, you know, keep it very diversified, but just don't have canned food. Make sure you have food with enough nutrition and enough calories to get you through a day. Make sure you have enough for the family, and make sure you have food put away for your pets, your dogs, your cats, your birds, whatever. Make sure that you look out for them too. We don't think about our animals. We forget about that sometimes. So make sure that we have food for our animals. So I'm ranting and I could go on and on for hours today. So much happening. I don't know. Plunge protection team, making sure we get off to a good start today. Where was the good news? I don't think the job numbers were all that great. When you look at where the jobs are, not that great. 70+% of these jobs are minimum wage, low wage jobs. If you have a job today, and you have some money put away, make sure you have a safety net, a cash reserve, have some gold put away, have some silver put away, have food, have security, have it all, have a good pair of boots, a good pair of jeans, just everything that you think you would need. Just think if the power went out today and it was going to be off for 2 weeks, what would you need to help simplify your life, to make it a little bit more comfortable? Think about that. Take the weekend and do that. And let's get our mind, body, and finances in better shape starting right now. God bless every one of you. Thanks for watching. And as always, I look forward to talking to each and every one of you very, very soon. God bless.